we have a saying that I grew up with.
I'm afraid to hear it. I'm afraid to hear it.
The truth shall set you free.
Yeah, well.
You know?
But first it's going to irritate the hell out of you.
I'm saying that makes him the best qualified to follow in Dickert's shoes, because Dickert was a master politician.
What you're telling me is there might be a deal cut? I don't know.
I don't know.
My concern is, do we need a 100% politician? You know, I have to, if I give Dickert any credit, that he's amongst the best politician.
I agree with
you. He knows how to wield power.
Right.
He knew how to clean off the people from the committees that he didn't want. He knew how to get rid of some aldermen he didn't like. This guy knew how to wield power.
But do we need a new clone?
Well, here we are. Welcome back to Talking Racine. I'm Dr. Ken Jorgen, your host. To my left, we have Mr. Ken Lumpkin, former newspaper publisher and county board supervisor. Mr. George Myers, past and current taxpayer.
Yes.
And
still doing that.
Still doing it? Yeah.
Haven't died yet, but I'm doing the other half.
That's something you can't really retire from, isn't it?
Yeah, death and taxes. That's what they say.
And Jim Spodek, of course, our producer. You don't have any other credentials, do you?
No, that's it. I really don't want any.
He just runs the place.
Well, for your reference, today is Saturday, July 22nd, 2017. And we're going to talk about the probable upcoming election dates, which are yet to be approved by the City Council for the special election for new mayor to replace Mayor Dickert, who recently resigned. And the dates probably are going to be, for the primary or runoff election, we're looking at September 19th. And for the mayoral election, it will be October. Did we ever come up with a date? I don't have any.
Well, I think it's the 18th, but
it'll be in October.
It's in the middle of October.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to discuss the candidates, but before we do that, as the producer, I think it's incumbent upon you to take the responsibility to read this disclaimer.
This is new to me here.
This is serious stuff.
Yeah. The opinions about to be expressed in this discussion are for entertainment purposes only and are not necessarily those of the panel members themselves, nor anyone else living or dead. Any resemblance of these opinions to the actual facts relative to any candidate is purely coincidental and unintended. The persons we are about to discuss are all welcome to come on this program to express themselves and submit to questions that Talking Racine or any of our viewers might be interested in asking them.
Okay, we got the CYA portion done with. Now the
Did you check with any of those dead people to make sure that wasn't their opinion?
I checked with several of them.
Did you? Okay,
Yeah.
Because if they're voting, we want to make sure that they're.
And we're off.
Right.
So far, we have 5 candidates in this election: Wally Rendon, Justin Wheeler, Melvin Hargrove, Corey Mason, and Sandy Wagner. And there is a probable 6th candidate from the Green Party that may be announcing soon. So, this was kind of your idea, Mr. Lumpkin, to discuss the various candidates coming up for this election. So I'm going to allow you to kick it off and throw a little something out there and see if it initiates a discussion.
Yes. I think it's very important that citizens understand the mayor and the mayor position. And before we even start talking about the candidates, I think we need to talk about what a mayor should or should not be. Mm-hmm. And I'll kind of throw that to any of you.
I'm willing to grab on a part of that.
Go for
Okay.
it.
All right. One of the things the mayor should not be is the governing body, so to speak. The official status or the official duty of the council is the governing body. The mayor just supports the, kind of helps organize the staff so that the staff can support the council, and likewise the city attorney keeps the staff up to date on legal things and what they can and cannot do in support of their duty to be the governing body and watch over the government of the city of Racine. So it is not the mayor is not the head of thing. He's not the thing that makes things go. He tends to be a focal point for the staff and for the council, but he is not the governing body. So, let's
So
get that straight.
he's kind of the guy who should make sure that the show runs, but he shouldn't run the show.
Right, and he doesn't determine the direction it's going to go.
And he also should not be the lead real estate developer in the city.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Take it, Jim.
Okay, we know where we are going, or at least we're supposed to go, at least by the handbook. Where have we been, Mr. Lumpkin?
Yeah, and I think that's why I wanted to kind of introduce that thought, is because it's important that we look at that. And what's the major reason?
We're broke.
And plus, it's our money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the taxpayers' money, and we have elected really aldermen to be the caretakers. But it seemed in recent years that the mayor in his position have taken over that position that the aldermen should have. So as citizens, as we look at choosing a new mayor, we need to look at the quality of individuals and make sure that we elect a mayor that's going to be a caretaker and look after the citizens' money.
Exactly. It'd be a good time for the city council to reassume the authority and responsibility that they have as well,
Right.
as the legislative body. They should not be just a bunch of bobbing, what do you call them?
Bobbleheads.
Bobbleheads.
Bobbleheads. We got a whole crew of them.
There's just one thing I want to throw in on that too. It's come up as an issue recently, and that's this thing called a firewall, and that is where the staff prevents information from going from the staff, who's doing a lot of the research, right? They're the ones out there doing all the studies and blah, blah.
Yep.
But they prevent information from getting to the alderman.
And apparently at the directive of the mayor. I mean, we did
just
an episode where he specifically stated that he has instructed the staff, respond to these requests when you have time, basically.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think the backdoor message is, I don't have time for some of these people. You know,
Right.
Nudge, nudge,
Right. I
wink,
certainly
wink.
don't want to give. I mean, we've done an episode on open records or transparency in government. This last 8 years has been horrific trying to get information from the city of Racine, and this new mayor, that has to change because we are in some financial desperate situation.
Yeah, and we're not going to get out of it unless control gets handed back over to the aldermen, who are closest contact, by the way, with the taxpayers and the individuals. The mayor, much more distance. You know, he responds to 79,000 people. Each of the aldermen is closer to 7,000. It's an important thing.
Well.
So we're going to
You
look
got
at
something you want to add, Jim?
Well, I just want to say,
You're clearing your throat over there.
let's get some meat on the table and let's start talking about these mayoral candidates.
About the candidates. Well, we got Justin Wheeler. He's our youngest candidate.
Right.
He's, I think he's the youngest, isn't he? He's 39. Is that what he said? No, his father worked at some factory for
No,
39
he's younger
years.
than that. I happen to know Justin, a nice guy, very talented. He actually worked at Car 25.
I worked with him there himself.
Yeah, I've met him.
Nice young guy.
Good kid. Yeah.
And he's taking a shot at mayor, and it's honorable.
Yeah.
And he's got some good ideas. I mean, if you get a chance, go to his website or his Facebook. His Facebook, and he's got some good ideas on it. I think
he wants to enhance our technological profile here.
Good idea.
Racine. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think I agree with Jim, and I've worked with Justin myself. He was doing on the street interviews, that type of thing, with and other interview things. He was an on camera operative at Car 25, where Scott and Jim were not.
They were kind of behind the camera.
I can't think of Jim's last name right now, but anyway, they were working the cameras and stuff like that. Justin was on camera. I think Justin is new to the government. I'm not sure he's going to know exactly. I don't know if he's even aware of the firewall.
Right.
Well, he seems to have a better idea of what the mayor should be doing than the mayor we just had.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not a real high standard.
I mean, if he was the only guy running against John Dickert, I would vote for him.
Yeah, no question about it. But what's going on in City Hall and who you got to deal with and where you got to tackle certain problems, I think is something that Justin will learn about.
Right.
But he's going to get in there and he's going to suddenly be getting beat around the head.
Right.
And he's
Takes a
gonna
little
say, what the hell is that all about?
Who's going to beat him around
I'm the
the
new
head?
mayor. Everybody loves me. I just got elected.
Right.
Why are you beating up on me?
Who's going to beat him up? what kind of an inference is that, George?
Well,
Ran out loud.
Using pieces of that firewall.
Right, we're going to keep that information from. All right, let's move to the next
Rick's
one.
Wally Rendon. Well, Wally's my age. I might vote for him. I think it's time for some young blood. He's been around the community for a long time.
From his time on the police force.
24 years.
He was a good officer.
Mm-hmm.
I've known him for his involvement in the community since he retired from the police department. He's been very active in the Hispanic community.
Right.
I know that, and I think Wally, he's a good guy.
He's a gentleman.
That's basically what I can say.
Yeah.
I never heard of people, having any dislike for Wally. So,
Right.
He's
never done any kind of deals behind the scenes, and then never told the constituents or the taxpayer pulled some scams and then chased out somebody here. And we haven't done none of that. How could he become mayor here?
No controversy?
Well, one of the things
Running,
I've always enjoyed seeing is that community mix. You have, especially in this particular race, you're going to have a Hispanic, you're going to have an African American, you're going to have a woman. So you're going to have a good mix of people to choose from.
Right.
Body-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I suspect personality-wise, they're very
Based on racial intent. Yeah.
Right.
Is that any reason to vote or not vote for somebody? What the heck are you
What
saying?
kind of a body are you running around in these days?
Well, when you
Is it a
have,
black one or a white one?
Do you know what it is?
Is it
you
male
get
or
more
female?
voters out.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
more people
No, I agree with you.
participating in
Yeah.
the process.
All right.
And that's important.
You
Let's
covered
run-
yourself well.
All right, let's do this. Let's go through the other. What do we got? 3 left.
Three
Let's
left,
just
yeah.
go through them, and then let's come back and let's talk about how that race is going to be run.
Okay.
Let's go through
All
Corey Mason and Sandy Wagner and
Melvin Hargrove. So you want to start out with Corey Mason?
Yeah, just give them a little background. We're not going to get into the nickels and dimes
Well,
here yet.
Corey's been a state representative since 2006. He got elected to the state legislation from the area over in West Racine. And then they did some redistricting, and he ended up moving over to the north side and running for the seat that had been occupied by longtime Representative Bob Turner.
Right.
Right.
And he's been there ever since. He was part of the, what do they call them? The something 14? The Democrats.
the 14 that left the state capitol when Walker, I think they were when the protests were in
yeah, that was when Act 10 was first coming in.
Right.
And he wanted
Right.
to
Right.
You were trying to
deunionize
keep
public employees. And
Yeah, and they were trying to keep the demonstrators outside of the Capitol building for a
right.
little while, so he let them in through the window of his office. So they
right.
could-
Something
oh,
like
that's
that.
right. Yeah.
I think he actually put his desk outside of the window.
Yeah, he did at one
Yeah,
time.
it was something like
and
that.
he sit out in the cold snow.
For the people, for the children. All right, let's
It,
go
wa-
through,
it was
let's-
cold up there that time of year, too.
Okay, let's go to Melvin Hargrove.
Melvin Hargrove, pastor of which church is it, Ken? Zoe Outreach Ministries over on Racine Street. And he's been a pastor over there for quite some time, and he's also a veteran.
Yeah, 18
And
years.
18 years he served. Was he in the Army, right? Or was,
Army.
Yeah. I met him several years ago when I first moved back to Racine. Geez, it was probably over 20 years ago. And impressed me as a pretty bright guy, pretty dedicated to
Yeah. He also
the community.
he participated in the war. I forgot which one was it?
It might have been the first Gulf War.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Gulf
I
War.
think it
Yeah.
was.
So,
Gulf War One.
right.
Right.
He was also prominent on the school board.
Right.
Yeah.
School board. No, he's been active.
Plus, he
Definitely
was
active.
Well, he ran last time.
he ran last time.
Yeah.
Came within I think 800.
800
So,
He was the
right.
last man standing against
Yeah.
Dickert.
And he also was a member of the Fire and Police Commission.
Right.
In fact, he was on the committee when the present police chief was chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't know. Right.
In fact, in this particular article here, they've got how old may run. This is from is this from the Journal Times? Yeah, this is an old one. This is from the Journal Times.
Yeah, I don't
and there was rumors floating around that, well, there was I think I was running at one point, wasn't I?
Yeah, I think you were. You may still run. Depends, how it goes.
Yeah, you guys better straighten out, or I'm going to get in the race.
I ran with that.
Yeah, I have a campaign button of yours.
Yeah, right. I still have about 10 of them.
All right, let's go to Sandy Wagner.
Sandy Wagner, bringing up the rear. Sandy Wagner has been a alderman for 17 years, going on 18 years in the, do you know what district? Is it 15?
Sixth
district? Yeah. She's well thought of as well. She has been probably the strongest voice in opposition to a lot of what Mayor Dickert has been proposing through the last several years here. And a lot of the things that were being proposed and being done were in actually violation of the rules for local government. And she brought that to the fore, and some people didn't like her for it. Specifically Mayor Dickert.
Yeah, he is getting called out.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
so that's it. That's a big five, and like I said, probably one more from the Green Party, but there's been no confirmation of that yet, so we'll leave him out of the discussion, or her, as the situation may dictate.
Where do we go here now? I mean, how's this race going to be run? I mean, what do you think here? We got a primary coming up.
Yeah.
How's it going to get run? How are these candidates going to position themselves?
It should be heating up pretty soon. I mean, we're already on the 22nd of July, and we're looking at September 19th. So basically 2 months from now, less than 2 months from now, there's going to be an election. That's not a lot of time.
Well, and yeah, I would expect Sandy Wagner to be one of the leaders out of the primaries.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking for something like that. And the other one, I don't know, a toss up between Corey Mason and Melvin Hargrove. Corey Mason's going to kind of run on the shirt tails of John Dickert. He was at the when Dickert first announced his retirement. When was that? How long ago? Was that June or March? March. It was March. Yeah. And Corey Mason just happened to be walking down the hallway
at
the same time, and
hey, what's going on?
And they say, "Hey, Corey,
you quitting? Hey,
come on!
I think I'll run."
And then so Corey Mason, all right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll announce my candidacy at this time. Then.
Well, it would be nice. He wouldn't have to commute to Madison.
Yeah. So I just suspect that he's going to be looking to say.
Well,
hey,
what about Melvin Hargrove? Melvin
was real close. See, that's the thing.
Can he pull it again, Ken?
Yeah, I believe so. I think if we look at candidates, we have to look at how campaigns are ran, who have a base. Corey, of course, have the Democratic base.
Yeah, he's pretty solidly entrenched in the Democratic Party. Yeah. I would expect they'd be strong behind him.
He have lost position amongst many African American leaders because they looked at that whole movement from after the redistricting as him being a copybagger, running over to the minority community, and getting the support.
You're talking about Melvin Hargrove?
No, we're talking about Corey
Mason.
Okay. And he made some promises to the minority community that he'll do forums and listening session and etc. And he haven't been forthcoming. He haven't did a single listening session. So I don't see him drawing strong from the African American community.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him getting the support of the ministers. Another thing is that it seemed as if he just, in many of the readings, he just wanted to do the same thing Dickert.
Yeah.
And I know
I don't think he's got that level. He can't. You can't raise to that level of theft and dishonesty.
Raise to that level, stoop down to that level.
Well, I was looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know why he's tied himself so intimately to Dickert. I really don't. That's a very questionable strategy in my mind, because John is not a real popular guy in town. I've talked to people that are, like, formerly very solidly in support of him, and not anymore.
Right.
So I wouldn't. If you're out there, Corey, I'd disengage myself from John Dickert.
But can he?
Well, you know,
Well,
was
that's
Corey
the thing.
tied into
Yeah.
Machinery Row?
Oh, yeah.
He's tied into
the arena,
He's
too.
in Rootworks
The
now.
arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's with the
Yeah.
with the arena. Yeah.
All the failures of Dickert, that's what he's tying himself to.
Yeah.
Which I think is, from my little experience in politics, is stupid.
Yeah.
It
You know-
is now, but here's my question. How many people are really aware of that? And I'll tell you why I ask that. Because when I'm going around on this arena
Well, a
thing,
lot more are now.
I run into so many people that arena. What is that?
Right.
Or yeah,
Right.
I've heard a little
Yeah.
bit about that. Tell me
That's
more.
true.
So.
But that's
you know,
how you get. That's how that passes. You know, you don't put that information out, so that information doesn't get to the public, so they can't make it an informed decision. So what happens behind the scenes is this $60 million arena all of a sudden appears on the lakefront, and no one knows what the cost is. No one understands how it got there.
Well, they'll figure it out when they get
one
their
of
tax
the
bill.
things, yeah. But one of the things I do remember, and I give Sandy Wagner credit. I mean, she's on the council floor, and I was reviewing some stuff, and she's on there saying the citizens should not have to go out and get signatures so we can have a referendum, so they can have a voice in this in this
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
I mean, and I agree with her 100%.
right.
Well, Hargrove, too, has come out now against the arena, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of the three that we've sort of identified as the front runners, two are opposed to the arena and one is firmly behind it. And for that matter, Machinery Row as well. I think
Well, he
that's
was
pretty
so
much
involved
dead
with
in
it.
the water.
And when you say that, yeah, he's going to connect up with Dickert and that's going to hurt him, it should, because Dickert had nothing but failures. But unfortunately, I'm not sure how many people even know about his failures.
Yeah.
See, so
And you've got to
he
remember,
kind
they
of gets
got a
off the
ton of
hook on
money.
that.
You know,
that's
Melvin
the
wants to
problem.
come out. Now, Melvin, I don't know his campaign totally. You probably know more. But Corey's got a ton of money.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
Corey's got money. I
Corey's-
mean, you can just keep pounding these.
That's almost a song lyric. Got a ton of money. You
Yeah.
know?
I think it's a rap.
Say that a few times. You know?
But
I
you know,
don't need a new
Got a
career.
ton of money.
one of the things that, I once owned a newspaper. I can easily say that if what's the term Trump used?
There's a lot of them.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Yeah.
If we had our dominant media would provide more information
Oh, I agree.
to the voters, then the voters would have an adequate opportunity to look at all five of the individuals.
I like the way you refer to them as the dominant media and not the mainstream media, because I don't think they in any way represent the mainstream.
No,
I mean, they
no,
got
by
their
no
own
means,
little
no.
agenda that they're on, and it's usually pretty much in lockstep with
You know,
City
we had
Hall.
talked
It has
about
been
Aldi's
so far.
and how Aldi's have done such a wonderful job at their supermarket. If they did not have the Journal Times, there would be a real problem in this community, because that's about all that Journal Times is good for, is to circulate those flyers in the paper. The rest of it, half the time I read them, I'm like, well, heck, were you at the same meeting I was at?
You're only saying that because you don't own a pet bird.
Well, and the media has
Real
done
good on the
that.
bottom of the cage.
Yeah, the media has done that at their own expense too. I mean,
Right.
their population, their subscription is dropping dramatically because they haven't been going out and representing.
George,
the
if
people
they
doing
took the information that we had here on Talking Racine and the numbers that we can sometimes drive here, and they did that on investigative reporting, that thing people would be emptying those paper boxes.
Yeah, and
And
not
I-
only that,
I-
but the city would be better off for it, because
Absolutely.
now that people would know, and
Right.
someone like John Dickert wouldn't be able to step up and threaten this to spend $55 million of taxpayers' money to build an arena that's not going to do any good.
Right.
So it's a real shame of what this fake news and what this whole media thing represents in this country.
It's a big responsibility to be recognized as a news source rather than just an advertising medium.
Yeah, I think I have always believed that newspapers, especially towns like Racine that just have one newspaper, that it is absolutely the responsibility of the newspaper itself to put out information that's accurate, that's been investigated.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, the taxpayers, depend on that. Your people that
Absolutely.
have subscriptions with you. What newspapers like the Journal-Times tend to do is look at the public service announcement, I believe,
right.
the information that the city give on their meetings, etc.
Right, public announcements.
The city
notices.
pay for that. Taxpayers pay for that. So because taxpayers pay for it, it should be an obligation to the newspaper. However, this newspaper, the Journal-Times, and I don't know whether I have the right to say it, it does nothing to try to get accurate information to its readers.
Well, I think they recognize that is a very important revenue source. The public announcements and
That
so
could
on
be
and
the
so
problem
forth.
right there.
Right.
Yep.
And I think, and I'm just speculating,
who's buttering my
that
bread?
they may feel like they might not be getting so many of those if they were not
And how
so
do you know there
favorable
wasn't
to
some
the
threats made that way?
administration.
Really,
Yeah.
when it comes down to it.
But
Well, there's been other threats made in other areas, and so it would be completely consistent with the personality that we've had over there at
But
City
what
Hall.
gets us back to this
Right.
campaign here.
Yeah.
Corey Mason will probably may escape some of this, but and despite all the money that he's got,
Right.
there have been a notable number of candidates that have spent a lot less, half, 1/4, 1/3 of what the big money candidate in the election was, and still win.
Yeah.
And I think I think that's probably because the person that was the underdog, the one with the low budget, probably just had a lot better ideas, and people took to that.
Yeah.
And,
And educate. Put your information out there so people can get educated about what you plan on doing and how you're going to do it.
Yeah. And social media may play into effect a lot in this particular election because of that.
Without me throwing the plug in for my candidate, let's just look at the fact that
It's a good thing we had this disclaimer here.
in the previous election, Hargrove came within 877 votes of Dickert, who had a ton of money, and Hargrove didn't.
True.
So,
And he didn't run a particularly strong campaign either.
No.
I mean, he did not attack Dickert.
no,
And he could have.
Yeah.
The 10-year plan. I keep thinking to myself, who is going to ever challenge the 10-year plan?
Oh man, I'm looking forward to that
Oh, my
last
God.
year because the first 9 have been hell.
That 10th year should be a good one.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of good
Yeah.
stuff coming down. But he retired now, so who's going to carry the flag?
I don't know. We got we got a couple episodes of John Dickert.
I'm sure there's
Bon
so
Voyage.
much momentum built up. I'm sure it's just
Well, he said that.
beautiful things are going to happen.
Okay.
Well, while we got a quick break in the discussion here, I just want to mention that it's an important day today. It's Stevie Wonder's birthday. He's 67 today.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. Good for
All right,
Stevie.
I feel much better about doing this show now.
Let's get back to politics.
I knew there was something missing in this campaign.
You could feel something glowing inside of you, and now you know what it was.
Yeah, a little bit.
Got it.
Okay, George, you were leaving it off with you were talking about.
Yeah, I sort of anticipated a run-up between Sandy and Corey, but if I'd like to see a stronger Melvin Hargrove go up. I would like to see a run-up between Sandy and Melvin Hargrove. I think that would be a good, clean election, a good, clean campaign, and it would be it would. What I can now the other two, I don't want to leave out Justin and Wally. It's just that they're both really newcomers at it,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes an awful lot to run a campaign.
It does, and I think Sandy would probably be the most, being an alderman and as active she's been,
Right.
she would probably have the greatest
Most
understanding of what's going on there.
Most experienced by far.
Corey Mason, politically wise, I see him best
But here's
able
George.
to
What
follow.
about this? Well, let's stop right there. Politically wise, why is he running for mayor? What's that?
It's a political. I'm saying that makes him the best qualified to follow in Dickert's shoes, because Dickert was a master politician.
What you're telling me is there might be a deal cut? I don't know.
I don't know.
My concern is, do we need a 100% politician? You know, I have to. If I give Dickert any credit, that he's amongst the best politician.
I agree with
he
you.
knows how to wield power. He knew how to clean off the people from the committees that he didn't want. He knew how to get rid of some aldermen he didn't like. I mean, this guy knew how to wield power.
But do we need a new clone of him? Do we need somebody?
Now, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think there's a deal cut. I think there's something, because John Dickert, if you go back far enough, he was the golden boy of the Democratic Party, and he was going to go shoot at governor.
Yeah.
And we've all knew that.
Yeah.
And don't give that up now.
Now, Machinery Row comes along, the arena comes along. I mean, he's had some pretty big dings in his career. Now, all of a sudden, he floats over to the water and he heads down to Chicago.
Floats over the water.
Who is the next?
At least he didn't walk on it.
You know, he ain't walking on water.
Okay.
You know. But here's the thing. Now, Corey Mason comes in. I don't think Corey Mason was going to run for mayor. I think they're grooming him in the Democratic Party, because really they had to go to second string. And Corey Mason comes in.
What concerns me is they look at this as a little. I'm not saying this case, but if I find that the Republican Party or the Democrat Party looked at this as a little trophy to win.
Right.
We have another mayor. You know how they count the number of governors they have. Hey,
I agree.
We got another mayor, and that would be just very degrading to the city of Racine. We got a mayor because it's somebody's trophy case.
What do you think the arena is? It's a trophy case for
I understand that. I'm just saying, if that's the case, then we definitely want to get one of these other two in there. And that's why I'd like to see a runoff over there, as opposed to a wheeler-dealer being one of the potential mayors.
I'm concerned whether or not there's any kind of conflict of interest with his wife being the judge.
Oh, wait a second. I don't see the problem.
She's a municipal judge.
If the president's wife was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, are you telling me that would be a problem?
Honey, we have a problem over here. Can I get a part?
I always thought that Hillary should be in
What would be wrong? Bill President and Hillary Chief Justice.
I forgot about
you
that.
have a problem with that?
It's almost like the royal family moving in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you got the mayor, you got the judge. You know, pretty
The
soon.
return of Camelot, right here on the shores of
They could have kids and they could all be aldermen.
The wife gonna
we would have
swear
a
me.
family thing here, man.
Well, there's probably a little bit more that I did a little digging. There's some more to that story, but we'll let that.
Could I
wait for
go
another
back
day.
to a point that I want to make? I think people in the public need to hear. The reason I brought up the Journal-Times is that I've noticed a pattern by the Journal-Times, as they seem to want to do the selection of the candidate. Since Corey have been coronated by the mayor, they have Corey picture on the front page. They have him.
Well, he's gotten more press than anyone else.
Yeah,
by far.
And whether we want to agree or disagree, Melvin should be the front runner. He was the closest to the mayor in the previous election.
It's a good point. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
You know, and so the public need to be able to kind of see that, and that's why it turned fake news and
So it's kind
biased moves.
It's kind of his turn the way it was Hillary's turn.
We'll use that. We'll accept that.
No, I think I agree with you, Ken. I think there's something. It just I just don't like this whole. You know, almost we just kind of like roll into the next one, and the newspaper goes along with it.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, so much of this information is not put out. We put out a lot of information, but you know what? I mean, locally, I mean, and I'm not talking that the newspaper does this great job on any of them, but a little bit here and there, just some of the smaller investigative stuff, just on the fact of the budget, how much money. People figure out, people understand when you tell them, hey, you're maxing out the credit card of the city, they get that, denied. They understand that.
Right.
And I don't think that Journal Times does. I don't think it does a job at all on that. And if it did, I think there would be some real speculation on has this last 8 years been good for this community when he actually saw the numbers. And George, we looked at those numbers this morning as for what it was in the debt in 2009 to the debt in 2017.
It was like 17%, wasn't it?
It's almost doubled.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is unacceptable.
Yeah,
But by 2030, it's supposed to go down to historical lows.
Well, we got the tape on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know it's coming.
we talking about, and I'm not just going to beat up on Corey, but since I had the opportunity, we talking about
It's just I'm going to do it.
an individual
gonna kick
that
that dog
is
when I get
pledging to this community to follow in the footsteps of a mayor that shut down street lights and went to the churches begging for money.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
And he got a
He gonna follow in the footsteps.
Right.
of
When you talk about churches, that wasn't for campaign contributions. That was where he wanted the churches to put into the general
Help with
fund.
the fund, yeah.
Yeah.
Voluntarily. Yeah, I remember
Well, this is
that.
the same mayor.
That-
Remember, he was sued, and he sued the city to get his attorney fees paid. You remember
Yeah,
that one?
yeah.
And he's not saying I want to be mayor. He's saying I want to be mayor like the mayor that's
He's
leaving.
quoted as saying that. They were correct.
You know.
No, I mean, I get
That's
your
an
point.
actual quote from Corey Mason. I
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah.
like John.
Well, I don't know if I want to be like John.
Fine, but
He's
it's like
paraphrasing, but yeah.
he wanted to follow in his. He wanted to
Pick up
his program.
Oh,
to
yeah,
carry
yeah.
on.
You
Yeah,
can-
it's in,
Well,
it's
you've been warned, folks. There it is. What else can I say? You know,
No,
I go back to what I said. I'd like to see a Sandy and Melvin.
But he is
Hargrove
there.
run.
I mean,
Sandy
I'll
Wagner.
be honest. I think Corey's a front runner. I mean, it's very difficult to, he's got a lot of money. He's able to bombard the voters. And he
Yeah.
can pull up staff. I mean, the Democratic Party is a powerful party,
Yeah.
and they can do a lot of stuff. Now, the other candidates probably do not have that available to them. So they've got to really get their message out there.
we have a saying that I grew up with. The
I'm
truth
afraid
shall
to hear. I'm afraid to hear
the truth shall set you free.
it. Yeah, well,
You know?
But first, it's going to irritate the hell out of you.
Count on you.
yeah, well.
There's a
Do
lot
we
of
want to
truth
go any
that
further
would
with
make
this?
that
Or
kind of-
should
I think we're done.
You know what I think we should really seriously talk about doing is actually inviting the candidates. And,
we
either-
did at the very beginning.
Right. And have them be able,
Yeah.
and even invite the community to send in questions, you know.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
And the only other thing I just like to add to this, other than Wally Rendon, I've met the other four I've seen in an operation, and I suspect Wally Rendon fits this image that I'm going to present, and that they're nice people.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I have
Exactly.
even in the aldermen, I haven't seen anybody that I can't stand
Yeah.
to be around that type
Right.
of person.
Right.
So we've got to get by personalities and niceness and politeness and all this type of stuff, and you have to get down to what would they do if they're in an office. And if people would just do that, I think we have a much better chance of getting a really good mayor in there than if they're going to say, well, I like him. He's got.
Well, I think a lot of that
nice
came down to
family,
feelings. I mean, I think they govern a lot of the older persons, and I've watched it over the years. They govern on feelings. I mean, here, whoa, that's not. That's an ordinance violation. Well, they were okay. I know them. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
This one gets this one.
Well,
gets,
that's where cronyism comes
well,
in.
that's exactly
That's a
what it
big
is.
part of it. The way
and that
this
has to get cleaned up.
city
in
has been
Racine.
run. Yeah, I mean, there's so many situations where somebody is given a pass on a particular ordinance or a requirement, and somebody else is like hammered over it.
Right.
And it's
Exactly.
really been frustrating for the citizens of this town.
That's right.
Yeah.
The favoritism, like I say, the cronyism has got to be gotten rid of, and the nicest people are cronies.
Yeah. Well,
So you got to get through the personality,
Right.
and you have to look at what are they actually going to do in the office.
I'm trying to get past being a nice guy, but that's a big hurdle for me.
Yeah.
And I think whomever become mayor, that they need to slow it down.
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely.
Cut the spending
Right.
and start to get this debt under control.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big
turn
issue
on
in
some
this
street.
town.
Let's do some of that. So let's turn the
Yeah.
street lights. Let's fill some potholes. Let's get the roads in shape. Let's build our community back up.
Right.
Okay, gentlemen,
Yep.
you want to say good night to the people in our lovely guests?
Good night.
Good night.
All right.
We'll see you soon.